Oh, I want baby girl.
Don't baby girl me. How many of your groupies you call baby girl? Is Tisha a baby girl? Is Amanda a baby girl too? And who the hell is Bonquisha? Is that even a name?
Man, I can't
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sharane's World. Let's go. Let's go. I don't even know if I just said good morning, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long day. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sharane's World. Let's go. Come on in. How's everybody going? How's everybody's day? Alrighty. I hope everybody's evening is going well and swell, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Let's welcome all my victims, all my survivors, all my thrivers, or anybody that's out there that just want to educate yourself. And you already know. Let's welcome all them narcissistic men and women up out there in them streets. Let's go. Yes, yes, yes. So, I was gonna come up here and probably talk or something like that. I'm not too sure, but I said, you know what? Let me try to give y'all a little bit of what Sharane World radio show, kind of sounds like when I go live on the air, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, let's go. Come on in. I hope everybody's having a blessed evening. Yes, we are live right here on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. I hope y'all stay blessed. And welcome to Sharane's World, everybody. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go. Let's get into this. Let's go. Let's go. Welcome to Sharane's World, everybody. Welcome, 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 everybody. Good evening, good evening. I know I probably messed up in the beginning of the beginning of my show, but it's okay. Everybody messed up a little bit. But welcome to Sharane's World. I hope everybody's having a blessed evening. I hope everybody's staying safe up out there in the streets. I hope everybody's doing what they got to do for themselves, no matter who you are, male or female. Okay. It's Sunday. Some narcissists is lurking. Some DV is lurking. No matter who they are, male or female, they are lurking for the week. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna get their week started. Who's gonna supply what for the whole week, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yeah, so that's what's gonna be going on today. They're gonna think they chilling or whatever they doing, okay? Sometimes they drink, whatever they do. But just know that they are definitely going to be looking for their supply throughout the week, all right? So yeah, just make sure y'all keep your third eye open, especially right here located in Broome County. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I'm Sharane. I'm a peer mentor survivor for domestic violence and narcissistic abuse relationships for all men and women right here in Binghamton. Yes, yes, yes. In the surrounding areas as well. And I also spread awareness nationwide, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so if you haven't already, make sure you like the video, share the video to anybody you know that may be going through something. Maybe you're not going through it. Maybe somebody you know that's going through it, whether they're a male or female. You can always share my videos with them. Yes, absolutely. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the whole goal. So right now, I was thinking about sharing, my radio, just give you a little insight of kind of what, my radio show kind of sounds like when I go live on the air. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? So listen, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna play just a little bit of it because I don't want the video to get taken down because it has music in it. So the whole goal is, me just showing you guys snippets of pieces of my radio show. If you want to get the full view of the radio show, you definitely have to subscribe to my Patreon. And my Patreon is called Sharane's World. Okay. Um, but if you are in the surrounding areas or you do get the WBDY radio station, online because there's people that watch online, there's people, that watch from everywhere. So if you get it, you can get my full radio show there because my radio show just got dropped to me just now. So, I know it's on a Patreon. So I'm gonna run through little bits of pieces of my live radio show on air. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not gonna let the full thing run because, like I said, this is YouTube, and YouTube is a little differently than the radio. Okay, just like the radio is different from YouTube. See, at the radio, you can play what you want as long as it doesn't have curse words and things like that, right? You could say, you could certain things you gotta watch what you're saying, but you could play what you want and things like that, right? But on YouTube, you can't do that, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into Sharane's Raw Radio Show on the WBZY 99.5. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is from Friday when I did my show. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna make sure it's not too loud, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Let's get into this. So we're gonna start this over.
Baby girl. Don't baby girl me. How many of you groupies you call baby girl? It's Tisha. It's Tisha. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sharane. We are live right here at the WBZY 99.5, the Bundy Radio, right here locally in Binghamton, everyone. How's everybody evening going tonight? I hope everybody is having a great Friday evening. Welcome to Sharane's World, everybody. I'm your host, Tiana McLaughlin, and I'm up here just spreading awareness about the. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let me give myself a round of applause real quick. Let's go. That's just a snippet of, what goes down on a Friday when I start my show. I could keep it going. This is an hour long, radio show. Okay, but I gotta watch out for the music because, like I said, I spread awareness and I do play music at the same time. Okay, so I gotta watch the music when I start playing the music. See, that was my intro. You know, my intro, just like YouTube, is just a little more better on the radio. But anyways, that was my intro to the show. Okay. I can't wait to show, like, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. Let me get back into it again. Maybe I should run that back again. I just love my intro to my show. Because if you understand the song, then you understand what's going on. Okay? Yes, yes, yes. So let's get back into it again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to run that back one more time. Let's go. Oh, baby girl. Don't baby girl me. You call baby girl. It's Tisha. It's Tisha. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sharane's World. We are live right here at the WBZY 99.5, the Bundy Radio, right here locally in Binghamton, everyone. How's everybody evening going tonight? I hope everybody is having a great Friday evening. Welcome to Sharane's World, everybody. I'm your host, Tiana McLaughlin, and I'm up here just spreading awareness about domestic violence and narcissistic abuse relationships for the whole Binghamton and the Southern Tier and the whole Broome County, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm a parent taught survivor for domestic violence and narcissistic abuse, ladies and gentlemen, for all women and men. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be speaking about stronger support for survivors. We're going to try to get into understanding orders of protections and court process. And we're going to try to get into understanding no contact and why healing matters, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, the whole goal is to break the cycle, okay? No matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, male or female, that is the whole goal for you to break that cycle. You can recognize the rep. So, if you're just now coming in, ladies and gentlemen, I love running my shows back. Listen, I enjoy this. This is what I love to do. I love spreading awareness. And then I'll be running it back. Like my YouTube channel, I do that too. But this is my radio show. I'm giving y'all insight. The people on Patreon, they got to pay for this to hear this. Not just through me, through the radio show too. Once it gets aired out, you catch it live. You understand what I'm saying? You're going to catch it live if you get the WBDY 99.5. You'll hear it on the radio in the surrounding areas and wherever else, okay? When it's live.
But once it's done, it goes up on Patreon or whatever the case may be. So let's run it back one more time, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. Let's go. Oh my God, baby girl. So baby girl, man. How many of you groupies you got, baby girl? Is Tisha, baby girl? It's Nancy, baby girl. So Lisa, is that even a name? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sharane's World. We are live right here at the WBDY 99.5, the Bundy Radio, right here locally in Binghamton, everyone. How's everybody evening going tonight? I hope everybody is having a great Friday evening. Welcome to Sharane's World, everybody. I'm your host, Tiana McLaughlin, and I'm up here just spreading awareness about domestic violence and narcissistic abuse relationships for the whole Binghamton and the Southern Tier and the whole Broome County, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm a peer mentor survivor for domestic violence and narcissistic abuse, ladies and gentlemen, for all women and men. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be speaking about stronger support for survivors. We're going to try to get into understanding orders of protections in court process, and we're going to try to get into understanding no contact and why healing matters, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, the whole goal is to break the cycle, okay? No matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, male or female, that is the whole goal for you to break that cycle. You could recognize the red flags and you could be able to move on and get the tools that you need, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm telling you, there's a light at the end of that tunnel. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're going through anything that's absolutely hard, just know, keep your boots on the ground, keep your voice heard, because that is the time right there when a lot of people start slipping back down. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, reach out to your licensed advocates. They're out here in Broome County. You know, you have the Crime Victims Assistance Center, you have the RISE program, you have the National Domestic Violence Hotline. There's so many advocates out here. You also have the Men's Hotline. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please get the help that you need that's out here locally in Binghamton and the surrounding areas. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all. I'm super excited to be here this evening. Y'all guys don't even understand. You know, I just wanted to come up here and spread, some good awareness with you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole goal is to help everyone break the cycle, understand what they got going on and going wrong right here locally in Binghamton, okay? There's a lot of domestic violence. There's a lot of people that go silent. And there's a lot of information that needs to be shared, okay? I feel like everyone needs to come together, no matter who you are, male or female, and, share whatever information that you're going through. Okay, and if there is somebody out there that is asking you like, oh, why you didn't leave or why are you doing this? Trust me, listen, that's not the question that you need to be asking any victim or any survivor. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just be there and help them and support them. All right, and talk about them. Don't tell their batterer where they're located or anything like that. Just please reach out to 911 if there's any type of help that you need. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Another thing I wanted to get into today, as me being a survivor for domestic violence and narcissistic abuse, I have to keep my voice heard for myself, not just for myself, but for others. Another thing that I don't like what's going on, especially around Broome County, is like a lot of these domestic violence people, whether they're a male or a female, are walking through those court doors and they're walking out with TPOs, order protections, and then they're going back out and they're bothering them victims and them survivors. That is absolutely not fair. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is why my boots is on the ground, because I know my narcissistic ex is out there locally in these streets with a lot of TPOs on them, and Broome County courts is, they got to do something about it, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like anybody, male or female, that's, getting charged with domestic violence, family violence, anything like that, they need to set an example for them. There needs to be some stronger laws or maybe some stronger whatever they got to do to help these people when they come through those doors and they're getting arrested for domestic violence, no matter who they are. I feel like they need to get those people some type of help, and it's not to help that person, it's also to help the victim to get out these situations, because we don't know what them people have going on with themselves. They're crazy, they do a lot of things. So me personally, I feel like whoever gets charged with domestic violence, no matter who you are, male or female, you need to be placed on probation. There needs to be some strict laws. There needs to be something about that, because a lot of people are not educated on a narcissistic abuse relationships. A lot of law enforcement may not be educated on what is a narcissistic abuse relationship, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why Sharane World is here. As I said, I survived domestic violence in 2019. I did a video with the RISE program out here in 2020 for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm here. I dealt with the toxic relationships in between, and then I had the narcissistic relationships in 2024, ladies and gentlemen, to 2026. And the reason why I say to 2026 is because you still have to deal with the impact that comes after that. You still have to deal with the hoovering. You still have to deal with all the negativity that comes out of that. But at the end of the day, as me being a survivor, and I used my tools, which is I contacted Crime Victims Assistance Center, and I also contacted RISE, ladies and gentlemen, and I got the help that I need. I got counseling and whatever it was that I needed for myself, that's what I did. I contacted my doctors, whoever that was willing to listen to me to help me, because only I know what's going on with myself, okay? This is why I say you have to speak up, ladies and gentlemen. And men, all right? So all you men out there that's dealing with a narcissistic female or a toxic female, ladies and gentlemen, let me just make this clear. I don't advocate for any man that put his hands on women, okay, or female, all right? I don't advocate for any man or woman that don't take care of their kids, okay? Not at all. Because there are men out here that are trying to take care of their kids. And there are females out here that are trying, but then they have the narcissists and toxic people that's trying to get them and provoke them and get them to react. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't react to these people. Contact these licensed advocates that are out here. There are lawyers out here. Please, ladies and gentlemen, keep your voice heard. Welcome to Sharane's All, everybody. Listen, it's a beautiful evening, and I know them narcissists. They're going to be at them clubs and them bars and them shindigs tonight. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? So y'all stay focused, especially if you're single and you're out there mingling. Okay? Because they're in there, and they're looking for new supply. You could be the supply, or whatever you're supplying them could be the supply. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? So don't be no narcissist supply about here in these streets, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So welcome to Sharane's All, everybody. We're going to have a good evening. Listen, we're going to get into a song, and that is called Mary J. Blige. It's by Mary J. Blige, and it is called I Am. Let's go, everybody. Y'all make sure y'all stay safe. Listen, it's real. Oh. All right. So Sharane had to turn that down. We back on YouTube right here. We on YouTube. Okay. I had to turn that part down because, like I said, I don't want too much music playing on YouTube because y'all know how that goes. Okay. So if you want that full radio, you know, my full radio show, you can definitely check out my Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna skim through the music so you guys can get the rest of the show a little bit. So I'm just skimming through it, guys. All right, so we're gonna turn it up right now. Okay. Alright, welcome back. We are live in the studio. Welcome back to Sharane's World, everybody. Welcome back to the WBDY, the Bundy Radio 99.5, right here locally in Binghamton. We are live on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, you know you could call into Sharane's World if you want to share your support, share whatever you want to share. Maybe you went through it, maybe your father, your cousin, whoever, maybe someone went on the line behind the situation. You can always call into the radio station at 607-772-9179. Once again, it is 607-772-9179. And you can call in anytime Sharane World is here, live on the air every Friday at 6 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. All righty. And ladies and gentlemen, listen, we're gonna get into some events before I get into anything else, ladies and gentlemen. So we are having some events that's going on around in Broome County. So the first event that's going to be popping up, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the Watch Us, Change Us, the Unity and the Community Barbecue is coming back, ladies and gentlemen, okay? That is going to be on August 23rd, 2026, of course, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Glendale Park. So that's going to be 400 Glenwood Ave in Endicott, New York, ladies and gentlemen. All righty, so that's the Watch Us, Change Us organization, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to be hosted by one of the other radio hosts, Kashif Summers. Yes, so shout out if you guys wanna get any of that information, definitely check out Kashif Summers. That's Kashif, last name Summers, right on Facebook. And you can reach out to him about this information about the event because they're also looking for some more people to come on down and bring what you gotta bring, ladies and gentlemen. So, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that date is on a Sunday, August 23rd, from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Location Glendale Park. Get involved. They are accepting donations and looking for volunteers to make this event huge for our community. If you want to lend a hand or contribute, send them a message. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's Kashif Summers right on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And you can find that flyer on the WBZY Facebook page as well. I also have it on my Facebook page as well, which is my Tiana McLaughlin page. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, you could definitely find this barbecue. It's going to be like local resources. Of course, Sharane World is going to be there, spreading some awareness as well. There's going to be live DJs, haircuts, hair braiding, activities, games, a whole bunch of fun. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So join us for a summer barbecue bash. Alrighty. They're firing up the grill for a fun-filled day for the whole family with delicious food, cold drinks, games for the kids, and it's best what it says. It's the best community bash of the season, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, what is the date? August 23rd. Make sure you guys don't miss out, all right? And then there's another event coming up right here, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys also want to make sure the WBDY radio parking lot sale, come for music and find furniture, clothes, toys, kitchen, books, decor, and more. All right. It's the plate for the peach, uh, music on the porch, August 29th. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's going to be on August 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Bundy Museum parking lot, 127-129 Main Street in Binghamton, ladies and gentlemen. So that's music on your porch day. Parking lot sale, ladies and gentlemen. You can also find this flyer right here on the WBDY Facebook page. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And let's go. Let's get into. I hope to see you guys there. If you are there, just look for Sharane World when you're coming to both of these events. Okay, bring your kids. Just come on out and support, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So now we're gonna get into another song, okay? And then we're gonna get into some awareness after that, ladies and gentlemen, because you know them narcissists. They hate to see when Sharane World is coming because at the end of the day, the whole goal is for me to help other people recognize the red flags of what's going on and what's going wrong. All right. And it's also to help other people get that voice because I remember when I didn't have that voice, but I also had advocates that was backing me up that that I can call on. No matter if I didn't have family or friends or anything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, you can lose everything dealing with these situations. So listen, let's go. Y'all stay focused, get the tools in your pockets, and we definitely gonna get into this song. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. I'm giving y'all a little insight on Sharane World Radio Show, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I can't play the music. You hear it? I can't really play it too much. Um, I'm gonna skim through it, and y'all just gonna get the awareness. Get what I'm saying? Absolutely. Welcome to Sharane's World. We are live right here on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta skim through the music. Here locally in Binghamton. We are live on the air, everybody. So let's go. We are definitely going to get into this. This is the Sharane's World Awareness, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's go. A call for stronger support for survivors in Broome County and Binghamton, New York. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sharane's World Awareness. I'm your host, Sharane, okay? And today I like to talk about something that affects families and friends, neighbors and communities across Broome County, Binghamton, New York State, and across our nation. Domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, survivor advocacy, and the changes we can continue making to better support those affected by abuse. Domestic violence is more than physical violence. It can include emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial control, intimidation, stalking, coercive control, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, threats, isolation, and manipulation. These behaviors can have lasting effects on a person's mental, emotional, and physical well being. Many survivors live with invisible wounds. They may struggle with anxiety, depression, fear, low self esteem, post traumatic stress, financial hardship, housing insecurity, or difficulty trusting others. Healing often takes time, support, and access to resources. Many people also use the term narcissistic abuse to describe patterns of manipulation, gaslighting, emotional control, isolation, blame shifting, and repeated attempts to make someone question their own reality. Some survivors described experiencing cycles of adulation, devalue, and discard, making it difficult to leave the relationship. It is important to understand that narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, is a clinical mental health diagnosis that can only be made by a qualified mental health professional. Not everyone who behaves in harmful or controlling ways has NPD. Regardless of any diagnosis, abusive behavior should always be taken seriously, and survivors deserve support. Awareness is important because education helps people recognize unhealthy relationships, understanding the warning signs of abuse, seek help sooner, and support loved ones who may be suffering in silence. Today, I also want to talk about solutions. Here in Broome County, in the city of Binghamton, we have an opportunity to continue strengthening how our community responds to survivors. I encourage our local leaders to continue investing in domestic violence programs, survivor advocacy, crisis counseling, legal assistance, emergency financial support, and community outreach so survivors have access to help when they need it most. I encourage continued trauma informed training for law enforcement officers, first responders, healthcare providers, educators, prosecutors, and anyone who works with survivors. Trauma can affect memory, communication, and behavior. Understanding trauma can improve interactions, build trust, and help survivors feel respected throughout the process. I encourage expanding emergency shelters, transitional housing, transportation assistance, childcare support, employment assistance, and financial resources so survivors have realistic options for rebuilding their lives safely. I would also like to see more public education on domestic violence, emotional abuse, coercive control, stalking, cyber stalking, technology, facilitated abuse, healthy relationships, and conflict resolution. Education in our schools, workplace, and communities can help prevent abuse before it begins. I believe we should continue improving services for all survivors, including women, men, older adults, young adults, people with disabilities, veterans, and underserved communities. Every survivor deserves dignity, respect, compassion, and equal access to support. I also believe survivor voices should continue to be included when discussing community programs and policies. People with lived experiences can provide valuable insight into barriers survivors face and offer ideas that strengthen services for future survivors. As a community, we should continue encouraging collaboration between law enforcement, healthcare providers, victim advocates, shelters, schools, faith leaders, and community organizations. Working together creates stronger support systems and better outcomes for survivors. This is not about placing blame. It is about creating safer homes, healthier relationships, stronger families, and a community where survivors know they will be heard, respected, and supported. To our elected officials, community organizations, healthcare professionals, educators, law enforcement officers, Advocates, volunteers, and neighbors, thank you for the work you already do. I encourage all of us to continue building a community where education, prevention, compassion, and accountability remains priorities. And to every survivor listening today, whether you are a woman or a man, whether your abuse was physical, emotional, psychological, financial, or any form, please remember this. You are not alone. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Your experiences matter. Your healing matters. Your safety matters. And your voice deserves to be heard. And thank you for joining me for another edition of Sharane World Awareness. Together through education, prevention, compassion, advocacy, and community partnerships, we can continue creating a safer Broome County and a safer Binghamton and a stronger future for survivors everywhere. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, continue supporting one another, and never stop spreading awareness. Together, we can make a difference right here locally in Binghamton, everyone. So just make sure y'all keep your boots on the ground. We have to make sure we keep our voices heard up, out here as a survivor. You know, there needs to be more training when it comes to law enforcement when they're coming out to these type of calls. And I understand every call is not the same. Everything is different, okay, ladies and gentlemen. But just to get law enforcement and everyone else to understand what is a narcissistic abuse relationship and when they can spot it, okay, whether it's a male or a female, okay? Because when a lot of people are dealing with narcissistic abuse and they try to call law enforcement because there's something going on, sometimes law enforcement just looks at them and they don't believe it, and now the victim is sitting there and they're fighting and they got to keep showing proof and keep explaining and explaining. So ladies and gentlemen, please, this is why I say everyone must educate themselves on what is a narcissistic relationship, a narcissistic personality disorder, and their traits, okay? Whether they're a male or a female, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, if you're out there and you need some help, reach out to the licensed advocates. You have the RISE program, okay? Their number is 607-723-9511. They have confidential support, safety planning, shelter, advocacy, support groups, children's services, and more. You have the Crime Victim Support. That's the Crime Victims Assistance Center, right here locally in Binghamton. Their number is 607-723-3200. They help with crisis intervention, advocacy, court support, orders of protection, assistance, and referrals, ladies and gentlemen, okay? You also have the Legal Aid, Midday of New York. You can definitely check them out. Their number is 607-722-1251. And they have free civil legal services for eligible individuals in Broome County. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the men's hotline number. Okay, so all my men out there that's going through something, we have the men's hotline number. Their number is 1-877-600-6366. All right, they help with support and resources for men experiencing domestic violence. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, this show is getting real good. I always come in here with a lot of thoughts on my brain that I be wanting to come up here and talk about. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get into one more thing before we get into another song. This is understanding orders of protection and court processes. Welcome back to Sharane's World Awareness. Today we're talking about orders of protection and the court process. My goal is to provide general information and coverage awareness. Every situation is different. So if you have a question about your own case, it's important to speak with an attorney or a victim advocate. An order of protection is a court order designed to help protect someone from certain harmful conduct, such as harassment, threats, stalking, or violence. In New York, an order of protection may be issued through family court, criminal court, or Supreme Court, depending on the circumstances of the case. Sometimes a judge may issue a temporary order of protection, often called a TPO. A temporary order of protection is intended to provide protection while a case is pending. Later, after additional court proceedings, a judge may decide whether to issue a final order of protection and determine its terms. Every order of protection is different. Some orders may require a person to stay away from someone's home, workplace, or school. Others may prohibit certain types of contact, such as phone calls, text messages, emails, or communication through another person. The specific conditions are determined by the court. If someone has an order of protection, it is important to read and understand exactly what the order says. If questions come up, an attorney or victim advocate may be able to explain what the order means and how it applies. The court process can feel overwhelming. There may be hearings, court appearances, and opportunities for each side to present information. That process can take time, which is why many survivors benefit from having support from family members, friends, victim advocates, counselors, or legal professionals. Many communities also have victim advocates who can help explain the court process, provide emotional support, connect survivors with resources, and answer general questions about available services. They are an important part of helping survivors navigate what can be a stressful experience. It's also important to remember that emotional support matters. Going through the court process can be difficult, and many survivors experience anxiety, uncertainty, or fear. Reaching out for counseling, advocacy, or support groups can help people feel less alone. As a community, we can support survivors by listening without judgment, respecting their privacy, and encouraging them to connect with trusted resources when they are ready. Knowledge is empowering. Understanding the purpose of an order of protection in the court process can help people make informed decisions on how, where to turn for help. So thank you for joining me for another edition of Sharane's World Awareness. Together through education, compassion, and community support, we can continue raising awareness and helping create a safer future for everyone right here locally in Broome County, the Southern Tier, Binghamton. Listen, everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, no matter where you at, okay? The whole goal is what? To break the cycle, no matter who you are, male or female, okay? Get the help that you need. It's out there, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And we're going to get into our next song, and it's by Casey and JoJo. It is called All My Life, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, I already know you guys are probably going through something. If you are, no matter who you are, male or female, just know it's gonna get better after this, okay? Keep your boots on the ground. All right. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do what you can't, what you can do. All right. And always complete your goal. All right. Don't let nobody tell you you can't, because they're not worth it, because they're abusive and they're a narcissist, no matter who they are. Keep your money in your pocket. Don't register no cars for nobody. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. You already know. Let's go. We back live on YouTube right now. We are back. I'm showing you guys, my radio show from Friday. I can't play the music on YouTube, guys. I don't, YouTube will come after you. So, when the music start playing, as you can hear, I'm gonna turn it down and I'm just gonna skip through it until I get to my talking parts that can be on YouTube. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. This what you're listening to is my live show that I did on Friday. Okay, this is why I say listen to the WBDY because then you could tune in, you could rock out, and everything will be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure y'all hit the like button, share the video. All right, make sure y'all turn your notification bells on so you can know when Sharane World comes live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. So we're gonna try to skip out that song and we're gonna scan through it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna give y'all just a little insight of what goes on a little bit, but it's better when you can see behind the scenes and stuff like that. It's absolutely amazing. But in the between that, I'm gonna be skipping through the song. As y'all can see, I'm skipping through it. Yeah, gotta do it. Gotta do that. I hope you guys are getting the tools. There we go. All right, we are back live in the studio on the WBZY 99.5. Right here locally in Binghamton, everyone. Listen, I hope you guys are getting the tools in your pocket, understanding what's going on and what's going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into another song because Sharane was is definitely excited. Okay, I hope you guys are getting the tools in your pocket. So let's go. We're going to get into another song, ladies and gentlemen. It is called When It Hurts by Avant. All right, guys. So now I gotta skim through that. I should have known I played another song. I did the show, right? Let's go. So now we gotta skim through that song. Like I said, if you want to hear the full show, walk out to some good music, gotta check out my Patreon, or you gotta catch me when I'm actually live on the air on 99.5, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna keep skimming through it. All righty. Uh, all right, let's go. Alrighty, we are live back in the studio, WBDY 99.5, right here locally in Binghamton, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, you can always call in while I'm live in the studio at 607-772-9179. Ladies and gentlemen, also, you can always catch me on YouTube. It is called Sharane's World. It's just like my radio show. It's SHARANEWORLD, Sharane World, right on YouTube. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I also have a Facebook support group page as well that has almost 3K followers in there, and that is for domestic violence, narcissistic relationships. I survive, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. And I'm also on Facebook on the WBDY Facebook page as well. So you can check out all my flyers that I do have up there. Anything that I spoke about, all the events, they're all up on the Facebook page, on the WBDY Facebook page, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So make sure y'all check it out. Check me out. Because if you don't find me here, throughout the week, besides the Friday, I'm always on my YouTube channel and doing other things, ladies and gentlemen. My whole goal about this is not only helping everyone get the voice, not just women and men, but it's also to give back to the community and to help other people as well, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, if you do want to come on to Sharane's World as a guest, right, and share your story, whatever it is, please make sure you can call into the radio station at 607-772-9179, and you can request that you want to be a guest on Sharane's World, alrighty, and then you can go on from there, ladies and gentlemen, okay? All right, or you can reach out to me and I can tell you how to go about it, ladies and gentlemen, because listen, I want to hear from all men, all women. Listen, there's a story out there. Everybody has a story out here, ladies and gentlemen, so don't forget to make sure y'all tune in to me on YouTube as well if you don't catch me here, throughout the week besides on a Friday at 6 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's go. Let's get into this next song by Casey, ladies and gentlemen. It is called Not Your Friend. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all be watching them people. So y'all know they ain't no clubs, them bars, and them shingdings, okay? Them supplies. They out there. They're partying like party animals outside today, okay? Y'all stay focused. Don't register no cars for nobody. And keep your money in your pocket because they lurking. Yeah, that's crazy work, y'all. We gotta skim through that. We almost done, because I'm skimming through it so fast. Can't put these songs on here, you know what I'm saying? Just want to give y'all a little taste, just a little taste. Every week is a different thing, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't the same talk. Every week on my radio show, different talk every week. So make sure y'all tune in on 99.5. Okay. All righty, welcome back. We are live back in the studio at the WBDY 99.5, right here locally in Binghamton. Welcome back to Sharanesville, everybody. Listen, I know you guys are probably going to go out to them clubs and bars and shindies, but please make sure y'all stay safe out here locally in the Broome County area. Okay, to all my ladies out there, please stay safe. Make sure if you're going to any supermarket, anywhere, any parking lot, make sure y'all pull up to a well-lit area. Do not pull up to the back of the parking lot. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're going through any type of situation. And honestly, I feel like you should do that at any time because you never know who's in these parking lots, okay? Watch your background, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, we're going to get into one more song, and I appreciate you all for rocking out with Sharanesville. The whole goal is to break the cycle and to educate everybody on what's going on and what's going wrong. If you do see my March awareness flyer hanging around, just make sure y'all take a look at it. All right. And also, if you see my You Are Not Alone flyer anywhere that has all the resources for the Southern Tan Broome County, check that out. And if you see my actual flyer with my face and everything on there, check it out, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Because it's real up out here in these streets, okay? So, yes, we are going to get into one last song. Before we do start heading up out of here, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. We got to set this real Okay, before we go, let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
January 7th.
Oh yeah, we almost done, guys. We almost done. Gotta skim through this. Right here locally in Binghamton, ladies and gentlemen. I don't bite, so if you do see me in the street, you can say hi, show your support. I love to speak with everyone. I'm a people person, no matter who you are. You know, no matter who you are, male or female, just stop, say hi, share your story, whatever it is, okay? Listen, Sharane World will be back live in the studio every Friday, 6 p.m. So remember, every Friday, you got a question, whatever it is, make sure I will be back here every Friday, 6 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. We're going to get into my outro song, ladies and gentlemen, because you know, love me some Cassie, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. I appreciate you all. Y'all stay focused, okay? And stay safe out here in these streets. Make sure y'all not being followed home and do not come home with nobody that you just met in these clubs and bars and shingdings. You don't know them. And remember, everybody has a past, but it's all how they operate when they come back out in these streets. Are they healed? Did they change? No matter who they are. All right? Recognize the tools. Recognize narcissistic abuse. They love bomb you very, very quickly. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, make sure y'all remember that. Let's go. We're gonna start heading up. This is my song right here. This is my outro. Because you ain't love everybody. WPC 99.5. Hey, locally in Binghamton. I appreciate you all. I'll see you guys next week. Okay, I'm excited. Catch me on YouTube, Sharane's World. Let's go.
Gotta get into everybody already like dancing. I mean, power on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's give a round of applause for that. Shut that down. We shut that down real quick, okay? So listen, we are live on YouTube right now. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all. If you tuned in or whatever, I'm sorry y'all had to get it all choppy because of YouTube, okay? But if you want the full version, the whole thing, make sure y'all tune into my Patreon, okay? And also, make sure y'all tune into the WBDY 99.5 FM, okay? If you're in the surrounding areas of Binghamton, listen, if you get 99.5 on the radio, on a computer, wherever, just tune in, ladies and gentlemen. You could go online, you could tune in as well, okay? But once that show is, and you want to go back to, listen to a show that you missed, you have to check me out on my Patreon, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, I was just coming up here I thought I was going to talk about something else tonight, but no, I was like, you know what? Let me let y'all get a little snippet of what Sharane will do on the radio. But like I keep telling y'all, there's a lot of things in the background that Sharane World still has to do. Sharane World still, Sure, we're still kind of learning, but I got it. You know what I'm saying? But listen, there's a lot that you have to do in the background. Sometimes I go live on Facebook and kind of show you guys just a little glimpse, but you know, that's just my whole goal, and I'm absolutely happy that I'm able to spread awareness, nationwide, locally for my, the community that I am. It's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sharane's World right here on YouTube. Let's go. I hope y'all have a blessed evening. Stay safe. Watch out for these narcissists. Remember, they be lurking. And Sharane will come back up here live a little later. All right, making sure everybody's safe out here in these streets. But listen, I just had to give y'all a little taste of my radio show. So I appreciate you all if you made it to the end. Shout out to all my subscribers. Shout out to all my viewers. Shout out to everybody on my support group page. Just shout out to everybody. Okay? It's all about the peace, and it's everybody helping each other instead of talking about each other. So get the tools and listen. No matter where you're located, you can always get past these situations, okay? Never stay silent, no matter who you are, male or female. So welcome to Sharane's World. We're gonna start heading up out of here. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for listening to the chopped up show and things like that. Because I couldn't play too much on YouTube and stuff. But listen, I appreciate you all that do understand and I support the movement. Let's go. Stay blessed.
got a long way to go. Rock with me now.